Hey y'all, it's Annilee. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to find and import models for your Chief Architect projects. I'm going to show you in Premiere and Interiors and Home Designer Pro. Premiere and Interiors work the same, and Home Designer Pro is just slightly different. But they're all very, very similar and very, very easy to import and update your own models. You can build simple stuff and anything that's really square and architectural using your polyline solids, but it's really, you can't really build stuff in here. So you've got to use your catalogs and imported models for any other furnishings and accessories, lighting, and anything that you need, anything like that. So where do we find these models? What do we do with them when we get them? It's really easy to find them, to get them, and to import them. And then once you start doing this, you'll build up your own library of items so that you can use over and over again in your projects, and it gets easier every time. So I'm going to start by showing you where we first find our models. And so that's going to be in, let me open up Chief a little bigger. That is going to be your first place to look, is going to be here in your Chief Architect core catalogs. So these are the catalogs that come with your program, and that will get updated from time to time. There's also the bonus catalogs, manufacturers catalogs, and these are all available through Chief Architect. So if we go over here to here in the Chief Architect 3D library, so anything that's not already in your program, this is the first place that I always look. There's thousands of catalogs, of items here in these catalogs that you can go through. And all of these, most of these are free when you have your SSA, and then they're inexpensively purchased if you don't. Most of them, they're all available for Premiere, and I think they're all available for Interiors, and then I think there are some limitations for HD Pro. I don't know that you can get all of them. I think you might not be able to get all the CAD details. I'm not sure, but there's, you know, so many models here. So just look here first and see if there's anything that you need in any of these catalogs. There's tons of furnishings for you designers out there. Go here to furniture. I mean, there's tons, just about anything really. If you don't need to have the exact manufacturer's specifications, if you're doing lookalike pieces, there's bound to be something in here that you can use. There's tons. So that's always the first place that I look. And then when you get these, you just click the little download button and choose your version, and you save it. You save it to your machine. And I have a catalog, a folder here with all of the catalogs that I've downloaded. So you would just save that, and then you go to your program, and then the easiest thing to do is to just open up that file, which, let me get that file open. Let's see, sorry about that. Here we go. Here is all of my catalogs. You just grab that catalog and you drag it over, and that's all you do. And it imported that whole catalog for you. And that particular one was a manufacturer's catalog, so it put it under that category. And then everything is in there for you to choose from. So that's always the first place that I look for that kind of stuff. So the next place that I look is the Sketchup 3D Warehouse. This is a treasure trove of models. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of models here. Some from manufacturers, you can see, and then most of them are from other users. And you just set up a free account here. You do have to set up an account, but it's free. You don't have to own SketchUp to use this at all. You just set up the account, and then you can find models. You can save them to your favorites. If you build models, you can upload for other people to use. These are all free. These are all free to use. So you just search what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a sofa, you just search for a sofa, and it'll come up with actual products here that manufacturers have put up. And you can see there's some really, really nice models that you can find on here. I mean, very detailed and beautiful. If you go here to the models tab, you're going to get everything that other users, other modelers, anybody who has an account has uploaded. So all sorts of stuff. And you can see some of them are fully detailed, some of them are less detailed, all different styles. And then you can get more specific with your search here too. So this is a great resource for looking for your items. And all you do is click the download button. You choose your version of SketchUp, and then you download it. And I keep a library folder here, and then I try to keep everything organized. So let's see, that's a sofa. Where's my sofa? I'm going to put it in my sofa. So you see, I've saved lots of sofas over time. And then that just saves right onto my machine, and then I can use that in Chief, and I will show you how to import those here in just a minute. So other than the SketchUp Warehouse, there are, and like I said, everything in here is free. So this is a great resource, and you can also use this if you just need pillows. I could take this into SketchUp if I wanted to and break this up and just use these throw pillows if I wanted to, or if I wanted this sofa without the pillows, I could just go in and take those pillows off. So most of these are going to be you can modify any of these, and then you'll be able to also change the materials once you get into Chief. Once you get these into Chief, though, you cannot modify them once they're inside Chief. You can only change their sizes and their materials. So you'll just have to remember that with any of these models. The other places to look are going to be sites like CG Trader, 3D Sky, or Turbo Squid. Now, these are all paid sites, but they do also have a lot of free models. Let's see, one of them even has a tab just for free somewhere. Free models. So there's people, there's animals, there's cars, there's plants, tons of stuff that you can get for free. And then there's also paid models, which are well worth it sometimes, depending on what you need. Just decide on how long it's going to take you either to figure out or build it yourself, or just pay $7 or $5 or $20 or whatever it's going to be to buy a model if you need to. So you'll see here, these come in different file formats. These come in a Max, an OBJ, an FBX, or an MTL. So you can see they list here what file types they come in. Some of these will come in a SketchUp format, some of them won't. So that will take me back. Let me show you here the types of files that, put that away, what we can import. So we can import over here under 3D symbols is what they call it in Chief. You can import any of these, the DWG, DXF, OBJ, 3DS, STL, SKP, or DAE. So any of these file types. This DWG is what you get when you use AutoCAD 3D or architectural as a 3D DWG file. DXF is, you can save out as a DXF from several other programs. It's one of the more universal. OBJ and 3ds files are going to come from your more complicated modeling like Blenders or 3ds Max, stuff like that. A SketchUp file is obviously from SketchUp, and the STLs and the DAEs are also can be export from several different programs. So those are a little bit more universal as well. But you're going to see a lot of OBJs and DAEs. You're going to see a lot of these different file types, and it's the same for in interiors. You've got the same ones, and you've got the same ones over here in HD Pro. So all three, you can import all of those. So let's go back over here to the browser. So just be aware of that when you're in any of these paid sites, which file format you're going to download and what you can import. Now, I will say OBJ files are typically huge. They're really big. And sometimes they're going to need to be modified, like I said, and you can't add or remove pieces once they're in Chief. So if like you wanted one of these plants, but not all three, you would need to open that up in another program and delete whatever you didn't want before you put it into Chief. But still a great resource, and I use it all the time, and most of these you can open up in SketchUp Pro and modify. So those are the paid sites. So the other thing that I always do is check your manufacturer's websites. So one that always has models is Kohler for your plumbing. So you see over here in their product catalog, under products, under, let's see, where did I find this? Under design tools, and then product catalog in Kohler. And then they also have these listed on the product pages as well, but you can see they have all of these types of downloads for these items. So you can search for items and then get their model directly from them, and these are free at no charge. And so I could download a SketchUp file or an OBJ or a 3ds, so any of these I could download and import into Chief. So Kohler has those. Knoll is a great, they've always had really good models. They were on board with models. They were one of the first, really, but every website's kind of different, so you kind of have to just look around. A lot of times there'll be a resources or a trade page. Let's see, Knoll's is under resources, 3D furniture symbols. So you can see they've got stuff directly for Revit. They've got stuff directly for AutoCAD, and then non-platform specific, these are those more universal type files, and then there's your SketchUp files. So and they've, you know, every site's going to be different. They have a library manager that you can use, but I always check with the manufacturer's website and just see, because more and more are getting on board with having models. This is a really pretty modern furniture line, and they're out of the UK, and they have their models. So, and just to show you theirs, it's under their professionals tab and under downloads. And their website was going really slowly when I tried this earlier, but there we go. So they have a whole section here of 2D and 3D files. And yeah, so here's different, for their different pieces, I could just download their files. And it gives me a zip file, and so I would just save that and then open that zip and use those files. So that is a really great website resource to use. On just always check your manufacturers, and if they don't have models already made and you need to have the exact model, you can also find their spec sheets. See, they've got pretty detailed looking spec sheet here, and then you can also build your own. models if you need to. So for this, you would, to build your own, you would need to use one of the paid versions of SketchUp. And if you, let's see, if you wanted to build your own, I'll put a link here. Let me see, let me get this link. There is a great course that you can take if you wanted to learn to make your own models if you wanted to. This is using SketchUp, and Sarah teaches you how to make all of these things. So that's an option too if you wanted to make your own. You could also, if you wanted something very specific, you could also hire a certified modeler to build it for you. And so over here we've got at the eDesign Tribe, all of these people have taken the modeling courses and been certified as professional modelers. So this is a great resource too if you need something built for you to use as a model. Like I said, doing all this, you'll start to build your own library and really be able to save yourself time in the long run by building up your library. So once you get your products, your models that aren't part of one of the Chief Architect catalogs, so what do you do with it? What do you do with it now? So we're just gonna import it, and it works very similar for all three. So I'm going to start with Premiere. And we're going to go to import, and we're going to go to the import the 3D symbols that we looked at before, but this time we're going to go ahead and click it. And I am going to import this 3DS model. So I'm going to choose that. And it pops up with this window. Okay, so here is the file that we chose. And what it's called. So I can change that if I wanted to change it to whatever I wanted to. And I want to choose a category for it. This tells it what it is, and this will be helpful if you're making schedules, furniture schedules, or fixture schedules, whatever. This will tell it the category to put it in, and this is an interior furnishing, so I'm going to choose that. You can choose whether or not to add it to your personal library. If you add it to your library, then it will always be listed over here anytime you start a new project. So if it's something you're going to use a lot, add it to your catalog, and it's always right there in your catalog to use. So I'll add that to my catalog, and then I'm going to show some advanced options here. And I'm going to click OK. And that pops up. These are the advanced options. If I don't tick that box, this one won't pop up. So here again, I can set all of the parameters for this item. A lot of the defaults are most of the time going to be fine. I don't usually worry about this because I'm popping it in for space planning or rendering. But if you are doing full specifications or anything like that, you probably want to come in and update any of this. So you can decide how it looks in 2D. There's different options. You can change the materials. You can set the sizing how you want it. And so I'm just going to leave all of that as it is. And then you hit OK, and now it pops up, and there it goes. It's in my project. Let me see. Let me open this up. And it, what did I call it? I called it dresser. And now it's in my library there as well. And then I can also go in at any time, open it up, and set any of the parameters in here as well. I can tell it what category it's in. I can change it. See how I made it for interior furniture. So I can change that anytime. I can change this. I can update any of this information anytime I want. Change its materials. I can go into and add any of the manufacturer's information. Anything that I want to add in there, I can do so. A lot of times, you know, I don't personally need this a lot of times because, like I said, for space planning, it's not necessary, so you don't have to go through all this, but you can if you want to. So let's see what it looks like in interiors. It's going to be the same in interiors. It's going to give us the same dialogue. Oop. It's going to give us all the same dialogue here in interiors and options as it did over there. So what's slightly different in Home Designer Pro is, let's see, we're going to import. I'm going to get that same 3DS. So it gives us a slightly different window here. We don't quite have as many options with what to do with it, because there's just less options in Home Designer Pro in general. But it's still, if you need a model, you can pull it in. It doesn't matter. You've got it. And you just don't have quite all the other specification options as you do. But let's see what happens if we open up the object here. So we've got more options. After you import it, go in. You can add all of your manufacturer information again for your scheduling. So you've got fewer options, but you still have a lot of options and really plenty of options to do anything you want with that model. Let's see. Okay, we're going to get out of that. Let's see. What else do we need to talk about? Okay, so that's going through the import process. You can do that with any of those file types. And there's another way to import, and I'm just going to show you that really quickly. I'm going to go into my my SketchUp library, and let's just find a chair. So these are all SketchUp files in here. So I'm just going to grab this chair here, and I'm going to pull it over. All you have to do is drag and drop. Oops. And drop. There we go. So that is the easiest way. You can't do that with all file types. It doesn't like to do that with all file types. SketchUp files, it will do that. So anything that you've got from the warehouse, you can just download it and drag it and drop it. You don't even have to go through the import process, and you can do that in the other programs as well. So I'm just going to grab it, drop it. It thinks about it for a second, and then there we go. And let's see what does it do in Home Designer Pro. Oops, I gotta grab it, and it thinks about it for a second, and there it is. And then let me move out of the way. Once I'm in here, I can do the same thing. I can open up the object and go in and change the parameters here as well, just like I did with the others. And then of course you can resize things manually. It does stretch them. It's not parametric when it does this. It just literally stretches it whichever way you go. So be mindful of your proportions and everything if you need to resize it. If you're just doing it like a little bit here and there, just a couple of inches, it usually still looks fine, but it won't adjust the seat heights and the arm heights and the widths and all that stuff. So just be mindful of that when you're resizing. So any of these objects, like I said, if you need to modify them other than changing the materials or basic resizing, you cannot do that here in Chief. If you need to remove a pillow or add a pillow to it or whatever it is, you're going to have to open that up, most likely in SketchUp, to do that, to make any modifications. The only thing you can modify here is your materials and your size. So that is really just about everything for importing your own models into Chief. It's so super easy. Let's just look at this in 3D. So here's those pieces as they imported, and they come in just perfectly. So I hope that was helpful, and if you have any questions, please let me know. This lesson is actually going to be part of my full Chief Architect course for designers. That is coming soon, and I will put a link to that in the description of the video. So thanks so much, y'all, and have a great day.